Well, everybody, we have now reached video number 4 in the series on the subject of prayer. With the pursuit of a deeper prayer life, we're looking at keys to doing that. And today we're looking at the subject of brutal honesty. And we use this phrase because, first of all, it can be difficult to be honest. And we seek not just a simple honesty, a surface honesty, but something deeper. So it can be a bit painful, a bit difficult, but we are seeking a pure form of sincerity in our prayers. And so let us make that a goal that we are pursuing, and let it become a discipline of ours, that in our conversations with God, we pursue sincerity. We want them not to be just empty words and not just a bunch of fluff and noise, but we want them to come from the heart and come from a deep place, birthed by the Spirit, led by the Spirit in that deep conversation with God. And so that's what we're going to look at. Our text is Proverbs 24:11 and 12. It says this: "If you refrain to deliver those who are drawn unto death and those who are ready to be slain, if you say, 'Surely we did not know this,' does not he who ponders the heart consider it? And he who keeps your soul, does he not know it? And will he not render to every man according to his works?" And I like this passage on this subject because it highlights, it kind of zeroes in right there. And so I look at this, especially this one line where it says, "And he who keeps your soul, does he not know it?" And a lot of times I just look at that and just meditate on that because it helps to sharpen the discipline of being sincere, knowing that God sees. He weighs the heart. He knows the secrets deep inside. You can't hide anything from him. And so it also highlights the need for sincerity with him, that as we are pursuing a deeper walk with him and a deeper prayer life, this is certainly a pertinent subject. And so we want to pursue that. But knowing that God sees those things and he weighs our hearts and he knows when we're not sincere, it helps to color our prayers. It helps to guide us. And that awareness helps us to be sincere with God. It helps us to open up and to trust him with everything. And so when we sin, don't hide it. We're open about that with God. We talk to him about it. If we're struggling with something, if we have questions about things, we talk to God about those things. That whatever it is that we're going through, good and bad and whatever, to develop that habit of sincerity and openness with God, being brutally honest. Because he knows it already anyway, and it helps us to go deeper with God. He walks with us through those things, and then everything that we go through, difficult and easy, good and bad, whatever, becomes a walk with God, becomes part of our walk with God. There's something that's really powerful, that's a key to the deeper prayer life, that's along these lines of what we're talking about. And that is that when we open up to God, when we begin practicing this brutal honesty, this and maybe opening up parts of us that we've never talked to God about before, or struggles that we've been afraid to address in our lives before. And when we begin to open up to God with that, and speak to him about that, at that moment, God comes in. Now, we are looking at that together with God. And so it opens the possibility of God doing a deep work right there in that thing. it can lead to great victories. It can lead to growth, great growth in our lives and in our walk with God. It can lead to just powerful experiences with God and intimate times with God and wonderful two-way conversations with God, which for me, knowing Him in a greater way, that's the best benefit of prayer. And having two-way conversations with God is my favorite kind of prayer. You can have times where you're just sweating, you're just in prayer and interceding and weeping, and those are good times too, when they're sincere, not when they're contrived and forced, but when they're sincere. But that's a one-way thing a lot of times. But the two-way is, I don't think there's anything more powerful than that. And that empowers us in a deeper way. That's what brings God into the deeper parts of us. And that power of the Spirit of God will reside within us. Hallelujah. And that's something I think that we all pursue. Well, the last thing I want to look at here on this subject is from the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus, in Matthew 6, in verse 7, he says, "When you pray, do not use vain repetitions, as the heathen do," meaning people who don't know God, "for they think that they will be heard for their much speaking." And this highlights just a couple things along this subject of sincerity and brutal honesty. And that is that it's not in the amount of words that we say. You can pray for hours and it can be quite shallow. It's possible to do that, just saying the same things over and over again, and using words that, but that isn't where the power in prayer comes from. That it also highlights or makes you think about what is the thing that helps us to have a strong, effective prayer life. And that's, again, back to our subject of sincerity. It's not in the amount of words, but it's in the sincerity. It's in the quality of our words. And even silence can be a powerful form of prayer. Worship, some of the deepest worship is silent. It goes beyond words, where we're just lost, in God's eternity, His immensity, His majesty, His love, and go on and on. But those are forms of worship that are very deep. So prayer is the same. We as Pentecostals, we're not known for being good at being silent. But for me, it's something that I've learned how to do over the years, and a lot of times it's very appropriate. I don't, it's fine to be silent. My mind is totally focused on God, and I'm completely involved in this prayer, but there are no words involved, and that's a good thing. So in all these things, what we're seeking is sincerity, brutal honesty with God. So may God help us as we pursue Him in a deeper way. Bless you, my friend.